Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Healers are spiritual warriors who have found the courage to defeat the darkness of their souls, awakening and rising from the depths of their deepest fears like a phoenix rising from the ashes, reborn with the wisdom and strength that creates a light that shines bright enough to help, encourage, and inspire others out of their own darkness. And I wanted to open up today's show. That's a quote from Melanie Colunas. And I want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this magical, magnanimous, magnificent, majestic, marvelous, metaphysical, miraculous, mind-awakening, mind-boggling, and mind-blowing planet of ours. This is another episode of Inspired Living Radio, where I like to say you are the inspired and the inspiration. So let's be inspired, let's inspire others, and let's inspire before we expire. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here with you yet again for another what I like to call soul adventure, an inspiring episode to explore, discuss, and discover the many diamonds within each and every one of us and the many gems in our world that have yet to be revealed. So get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, kick back, sit back, or lie back. Take in that nice, deep, healing, peaceful, and cleansing breath. And let us prospect together as we're going to learn on today's show about going deeper in the spiritual journey. Navigating the depths of our soul is today's episode, and I'm going to be your guest for today. We've had a great run of guests on Inspired Living, and I haven't done a show in a while. We've done Getting Along Academy with Glenn Court, Future Healing, Scalar Energy with Tom Palladino, Confidence Unleashed with Leanne D'Souza, Finding God in Vegas with Don Young, Mastering Your Mind and Healing Your Body with Brandy Gilmore. I mean, we've just had some really amazing guests. The Rocking Chair Prophet with Matthew Kelly. But today, I wanted to take this next hour to talk about the spiritual journey, to navigating the depths of the soul and things that I've gone through and things that I want to share with you today in today's episode of Inspired Living. So it's always a journey, and there's many pathways of life that we dream about, that we discover, we explore, and we experience through both mind, body, and spirit for this episode. I do want to give a big shout out and always say thank you, of course, to all of the inspired listeners from around the globe, the universe, and yes, beyond. My team and I here at Inspired Living Radio are always so very humbled and grateful to you for listening, downloading, subscribing, leaving reviews, and voting to make Inspired Living Radio and Podcast not only a best inspirational show, but also a best spiritual show to follow and listen to as referenced and sourced by FeedSpot. So we want to say thank you. We really appreciate the listening and sharing of each and every episode. If you've not yet subscribed, liked, or followed this show, there's always time to do so over on our main social media platforms. Over at Facebook, you're going to look for the community page, Inspired Living Radio and Podcasts. You can also follow us over on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Just look for Inspired For Us. That's the number 4, Inspired For Us. Our YouTube channel, of course, Inspired Living Radio here on Ohm Times and over at marclainhart.com. And we're now streaming through Audible, and you can open up our podcast wherever you get your podcast from on whatever platform you're listening. You can also say to Alexa, Alexa, open up Inspired Living Podcast, and this podcast will open up for you, and you can check out today's message about the spiritual journey and going deeper with our soul. So as I like to say, a new day, a new opportunity, a day we've not seen before to use our intuition to prospect this wonderful world around us. Are we ready to go prospecting? I know that I am. So We've had a lot of guests, like I said, some amazing guests here on Inspired Living Radio. The last, 7 or 8 episodes, and I haven't done a podcast. And I wanted to talk about a little bit about my journey and what has unfolded for me this last year, including a major life-changing surgery to my back, to my spine. That caused a direction in my career, a retirement, if you will, a semi-retirement, and also the healing that has come with that, and the transformation and the wisdom that comes from that. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the spiritual journey and navigating the depths of the soul, because I feel for the last 10 months, from 2023 coming into 2024, it has really been a spiritual journey for myself, but also navigating the depths of the soul through through pain, through suffering, but also gaining strength and wisdom for the journey. The spiritual journey, I've found that when this opened up to me years ago, because I wasn't always spiritual. And for those of you that follow my journey and my work, about 2 decades ago, I shifted from religion to spiritualism. And the way that I like to define spiritualism, if you break the word down, spirit, and then ism, which is inside of me, it was more about my journey of why I'm here, my purpose, my passions, my plan, and what the events that had surrounded me at that time, really questioning um, my journey, my mortality, life after death, what happens when we die. And so that's how I really became interested in spiritualism. But I always like to break the word down and say spirit and then ISM, which is inside of me. And over the course of the time, I found that the spiritual journey in my prospecting, and this is, for everybody listening, this is always going to be a choice that you're going to choose to do. This is free will and choice of, maybe you're struggling right now. Maybe you've lost, a family member, a friend, or a fur baby. Maybe you've had a career change. Maybe you've had an injury. Maybe you've had to go through a major surgery. All of these things can be part of your spiritual journey, and it can be very profound and very transformative experience. But what it does, it invites us as individuals, as souls, to explore the depths of who we are, of our being, to seek inner peace, to connect with something greater than ourselves. And it took me many years to come to this wisdom, to come to this knowledge, and of course, going through many different soul adventures, some wonderful, some not so wonderful. But I found that it is a pilgrim of self discovery where we can embark on a path of enlightenment, growth, and transcendence. As I delve into the various aspects of not just my spiritual journey and its significance to where I'm just talking to you today on the air, but how it shapes our lives. And again, this is always going to be, you may hear this episode live right now, or you may catch it on a podcast a year or 2 years from now. But it really is about your journey of free will and choice of, what am I doing here? What can I do with the time that I have? We talk about that unseen clock. Us as humans love to, measure our life by time on the construction of the time itself. 24 hours in a day, and we have our watches, and we have to show up at certain times to do certain things. But what about that unseen clock? That clock that says, okay, Mark, you came into the world in 1972. Mark, when are you going to leave this world? And I've found in this journey of enlightenment and growth and transcendence that it really is about breaking down into a few categories. And again, coming back to that free will and choice, when you hear this episode, you may be like, I'm kind of curious to where I want to go with this. I wasn't sure if I want to, go down spiritualism. It could be something that scares me. It could be something that, maybe it doesn't fit within your religious doctrine, or maybe you're not religious at all. Maybe you're an agnostic. I know at times I'm still agnostic. I want proof of what is not seen, but I've also learned, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You can apply science to spiritualism, and that's what I love about spiritualism is, you take the microscope, the telescope, the James Webb telescope. There's a lot of things that we don't see, but we know they exist based on how science shows us and proves to us. And that's what I love about spiritualism. But you may even be agnostic or atheist, and that's fine too, because it's about your journey. And again, today's episode is the spiritual journey, about navigating the depths of your soul. And one of the things that when I first started down this path, geez, like I said, 2 decades ago, I can't believe it's already been 2 decades. one of the people that I first started to follow was Ram Dass, and he would talk about this place being the womb. This place is actually our chance to learn and to grow, the university of life, if you will. So we always think about the womb that we're in when our mothers carried us for 9 months and we breathed liquid, and then we would incarnate into a physical form. And in that physical form, Ram Dass talked about how this experience is the womb of growth, of learning. And we come out, we're not breathing liquid anymore, we're breathing air. And then, the energy that's in our heart allows us to vibrate in this frequency of incarnation. Now, when we decarnate, which means the energy in your heart is going to move away from the physical flesh body, the matter of flesh, if you will, and we decarnate into a different form. Think caterpillar through the cocoon to the butterfly. But when he said that, it really kind of just sat with me like, wow, maybe this is the womb of our learning experiences. Again, surgery, loss of family members, murder, everything that I've gone through in the last 30 years that has really awakened me to this spiritual journey, this spiritual quest, and this transformative experience. And he always talked about dying is the most important moment in any carnation. Let me say that again. Dying is the most important moment in any carnation. And when I first heard that, I'm like, well, what does he mean by that? Because I think a lot of us, we have that fear of the unknown, fear of what we don't understand can lead us to that fear. I know for many years in a religious mindset that I was very fearful of death. I think more about how I was going to die. What would be would I suffer? One of my fears is, am I going to be buried alive? And I think we have a really good imagination of what our death can look like, but we don't know until that actually happens. But he talked about that being the most important moment because it's in the decarnation. And if this plane, this frequency, and this vibration is the womb, then dying is not the end. Dying is the next transformation into the next step. And the process of dying that does not overwhelm you. I don't want to scare you here. It's just I don't want to overwhelm you, but you want to be conscious of it. And it's a plane of what he described as incredible light, incredible peace, incredible love. And really, at the end of the day, the physical death is the birth of a spiritual life. And those were very profound words to me at a time when I was suffering with great grief and loss and trauma of the loss of my brothers in the same week to murder and brain cancer, and my father-in-law to multiple sclerosis, all at the same time. So I was very overwhelmed, and that's what opened my spiritual journey. That's when my spiritual journey began, and actually navigating the depths of my soul to be able to talk with you today. So let's talk about how this spiritual journey, its significance, and how it can shape our lives. And we want to start, of course, with the body, the incarnation of the body. We're in the physical flesh suit, the matter that vibrates at this frequency. And one of the quotes that I first loved before I became the intuitive prospector, because I think we all have intuition. I don't think, I know we all have intuition, and it's up to us through free will and choice if we want to prospect to go deeper. And it was Mr. Joseph Campbell. I'm kind of an acolyte of both Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell, and started reading their books and the psychology. And he always talked about the cave you fear to enter holds that treasure you seek. And I was like, oh, wow, I guess I've got a few caves I got to start exploring and prospecting for. And that really opened me up to different teachers, different mentors, different books, reading different books. And it really started to have me just start with my body, right? Because the body is where we're having all these experiences. And it really became this call to seek. And I found that the spiritual journey often begins with this deep yearning or a sense of relentlessness with oneself. I was very uncomfortable. I had never experienced having to go through a murder trial for my brother. I had never experienced watching, two people I love dearly suffer greatly from brain cancer and multiple sclerosis. And this relentlessness of, well, what's going to happen to me? And it's a call for us to start seeking answers, purpose, and a deeper understanding of the many mysteries of life. And that's why I always talk about finding the diamond within, but also the many gems that are around us in this very mystical, mystifying, metaphysical world. And this initial longing sets us on a path of self reflection. It literally is questioning the nature of our existence and seeking a connection with the divine. Now, for those of you that follow my journey, I don't try to tell you what the divine is. I don't try to explain what God is because I don't know. It's like, me as a human incarnate being trying to explain something that I know is there, but I don't know how to explain it. But it is there from my own personal experiences and my own near-death experience and many out-of-body experiences and working now today with plant medicines. So there is a divine connection. And that divine connection, again, whatever your perspective is, because spiritualism is your ability to shift your perspective, there is something on the other side of this veil that we call death. But it is filled with immanent light, love, connection, acceptance, healing, transformation. And when we call to seek and we are starting with our body, we start to explore different realms. And I always like to say that, when I'm talking, I offer things up like a spiritual smorgasbord or a spiritual buffet. Think of yourself going to a restaurant and there's this huge buffet with all these different dishes. And you can pick and choose what you want. Maybe you don't like the mashed potatoes and you want the cream corn. Maybe you don't like the broccoli and you want the cauliflower. This is what I'm doing on today's episode, is laying it out for you to choose through your free will what is a spiritual journey for you and how do you want to navigate the depths of your soul. Maybe you're at the depths of your soul where you're at rock bottom, which there was many times that I hit rock bottom, but I knew that rock bottom means I can only get up and start to proceed and transcend and ascend. As the Japanese proverb goes, we get knocked down 7, we stand up 8. And that's what that life, being in this womb of life that Ram Dass talked about, is your call to seek. And what we start to do is through this yearning of a sense of restlessness, we start to embark and prospect these, what I would call exploring inner realms. We embark on this spiritual journey and we are invited into inner realms of consciousness. I know when I started to seek and prospect all these new doors that I once, psychic and mediumship and healing and vibration and frequency, all these doors started to open up, but I had to move past my own ego. I had to move past my own learned behaviors, my own religious dogmas and indoctrination to be like, okay, do I really want to open this door? Do I want to explore this inner realm? That cave that I feared was started to really, as Joseph Campbell talked about, it did hold the treasure that I was seeking. And one of the biggest things was through meditation. Meditation, I actually started to learn in my graduate studies in sports medicine at the University of Washington. I never intended to go down a meditative path because I was getting my degree in sports medicine and human performance. But it was through that course that I started to actually be taught how to meditate. And that is when that dormant door, that door of intuition opened up, and it allowed me to connect with my brothers for the first time in many years. Now, that scared the crap out of me because again, we start to question, the ego wants to protect, and I'm thinking, geez, have I gone crazy? Have I lost my mind? Am I schizophrenic? All these different things, the what if world, if you will. But then as I started to go deeper in exploring these inner realms, I started to have introspection and self-awareness practices that said, no, you're not crazy, that you are expanding, you're transforming, your frequency has changed. And it really is that statement that talks about what the caterpillar calls the end of the world through the metamorphosis, the deliquefying of the cocoon, that the butterfly calls a whole new world. And it was scary. It was, but exploring these inner realms helped me to unravel the layers of conditioning and social expectations that have shaped not only my identity, but your identity. And in this process, as I cultivated a deeper connection with my true self, some call it the higher self, some call it that the divinity within, the God spark, whatever your definition is, it helps us to discover our passions, our value, and our authentic purpose. And through that, as I started the call to seek, exploring the inner realms, cultivating mindfulness and presence, the spiritual journey encourages the cultivation of mindfulness and presence in our daily lives. And I say daily because this is all we have. Eckhart Tolle, great book, and I'm going to be giving some book references throughout the episode. The Power of Now. It's another book that I started to read in my early spiritual journey. Was The Power of Now, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, if you want to check that out, and The Four Agreements, who, by the way, has been a guest, Don Miguel Reyes, who's been a guest of Inspired Living Radio in the past. And those were the 3 books that I really started to explore. But through that daily life, it's a reminder that we're in the present moment, and that's all we have. That is the true power of planting seeds for the future that's never guaranteed to anybody. And what that did is it started to open up not only my spiritual practice, my spiritual journey, but starting to cultivate to have a podcast like Inspired Living, 8 years later, 8 seasons later. And so by cultivating mindfulness and presence in our daily lives, again, what you have today is what matters. By bringing awareness to that present moment, and that's what Eckhart Tolle talked about, the present moment. Our mind, our ego, our intelligence is so good at looking back at what we should have done or didn't do, and is so great of imagination that Einstein talked about this a lot, that our imagination is great power, but it also helps us to look forward to a future that we think we know how it's going to turn out, but it usually doesn't turn out how we envision that, right? That's why Einstein said this 3-pound brain in the human head is one of the most complex systems in the entire universe. So as you start to rewire your brain and you start to cultivate mindfulness and presence, whether it's through being in nature, whether it's meditating, whether it's journaling, introspection, yoga, qigong, all of these can cultivate a mindfulness and a presence in the present moment. And what that does is by bringing awareness to the present moment, we learn to let go of attachments to the past and or worries of our future. And it's through these practices, like I said, such as meditation, such as breath work. Breath work, we forget about how important the breath is. Now you can't see me here in my studio, but I have a new tattoo on my left forearm that is actually the Sanskrit of the symbol of breath. The journey in, when we come into this womb of this physical plane, what do? We take in that first inhalation. And what is the last thing we're going to do when we decarnate and leave this physical plane to go to that next step, that next stage, whether that's heaven, the afterlife, I like to call it Summerland. But it's that breath is so important, and I found such transformative work, whether through Soma breath work or Wim Hof and cold therapy breath work. Breath work is fully available if you want it, and it can be very quite healing and transformative if you cultivate a practice and a presence around just your own breath work. And it's just a reminder for me that I talked about heaven, that heaven isn't a location. Many humans think that heaven is up and hell is down, or at least that's what I was taught in a religious doctrine, in a religious dogma. But we're on a round planet, so you can't go up or down metaphysically on a round planet, and you start to realize that the spirit world isn't a place that you go to. The spirit world is here right now, and it's about how you open up your doors of prospecting and let go of your ego to start connecting to these inner realms, if you will. So I always like to say heaven isn't a location, heaven is a vibration. And when we cultivate mindfulness and being in the present moment through, like I said, meditation, breath work, mindfulness exercises, we develop the capacity to fully experience each moment with clarity, gratitude, and acceptance. And that acceptance part is hard, especially if you're in pain or you are in loss and grieving or uncertainty or depression or anxiety. Everything I can speak to. I've check marked all those boxes through my spiritual journey. But what happens is we start to embrace transformation and growth. And the spiritual journey is a path of transformation and growth. As we dive into the depths of our being, we start to confront our fears. We start to go into those caves that we feared as be like, oh wow, that is a treasure that I've been seeking. Sometimes it's our insecurities, our lack of confidence, our limiting beliefs. We see that a lot in today's society. If you're on a spiritual journey, you kind of look out the window, and if you're so brave to turn on the news cycle or get on social media, something that I've really have taken a step back from this last year, you realize that there is a transformation taking place within our society. There's a lot going on, from the wars that we see, the political, the divide, the planet itself, and that can be quite overwhelming. But if you embrace that as a transformation and growth, not just for the human consciousness, the human species, but Mother Earth, then the spiritual journey is actually starting to take root in your life. And as we dive into the depths of our being, we start to confront those fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs. And what I like to call this inner exploration, aka prospecting. Again, prospecting can be hard if you don't have the right tools, the right mindset, the right location and you're digging. It can be quite, overwhelming and exhausting and dirty. But through that hard work, when you find that diamond, whether it's within yourself or the diamond out in this world, it is worth all of that hard work that you're doing. And what that does is this inner exploration allows us to heal our past wounds. It allows us to release emotional baggage and embrace our innate potential. Through this process, we evolve into the best versions of ourselves and embodying qualities such as compassion, resilience, and authenticity. And what that does is that starts to connect you with the divine. Whatever you define the divine to be, whatever your perspective of the divine is. But at the heart of the spiritual journey lies the quest for connecting with something greater than ourselves. Again, whether it be through religious practices, nature, personal beliefs, we seek a sense of transcendence and communication and communion with this divine. And this connection provides, and at least it's provided for me now that I've surrendered, and as Buddha would say, you got to let that stuff go. It provides a place of solace. It provides a place of guidance, and it provides a sense of purpose, allowing us to navigate life's many challenges with grace, patience, and of course, wisdom. And I found that the spiritual journey is a transformative odyssey that invites individuals like ourselves to embark on a path of self-discovery, growth, and connection with this divine. It's a journey of seeking, exploring inner realms, cultivating mindfulness, embracing transformation, and connecting with something greater than ourselves. And as we navigate this journey, we do find solace, purpose, and a deep sense of fulfillment. So I hope, as we go into our first break, our only break, that you'll embark on this sacred pilgrimage and uncover the treasures, the diamonds, and the many gems that lie within our souls, but also within a world in which we actually prospect every day in the present moment. So stick around. We're going to go to our first break. We'll be back here in just about 2 minutes, and we'll see you here on the other side.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
One planet, 7.3 billion people. Only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, and I do want to give a big shout out to my YouTube subscribers. If you want to follow me over on YouTube, you can look for Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We're about to cross the threshold of 20,000 subscribers, so I want to just thank you. And on that channel, you can get not only encore shows of Inspired Living, but you can also get my Friday show, live show, Metaphysical Meetup with Mark, all the different shows that we've been doing on Fridays live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So I just want to say thank you for those subscribers who follow the journey. And if you're interested, continue to follow along. So one of the books that I was talking about that today we're talking about the spiritual journey and navigating the depths of our soul was a book that you may have heard of called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And he really kind of opened up my mind and my mindfulness to fear and the things that hold us back based on fear. Now, over the course of the spiritual journey, I started to equate fear as an acronym, and I break it down 2 ways. So if you think of fear, F-E-A-R, as an acronym, the first part is that false evidence appearing real. And we see a lot of that in today's society. We do. We see a lot of fear based through our movies, through our cultural cycles of social media, through our media. I mean, you know, if you're on TikTok and you see something that's bad, a lot of us like to tune in. You know, I would notice this from my days in firefighting. We get the looky-loos. It would, you know, we're trying to help somebody, rescue somebody, save somebody, and everybody wants to gather around and watch and be this looky-loo. I think that's just part of the human condition, human nature. But I also realized that fear is also a big seller in today's world. And so when something is fear-based, that for my spiritual journey, that wisdom that I've been talking about, if you choose to go down this path, is like, wait a minute, that's fear-based energy. And that's what Paulo was talking about in The Alchemist, that there is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve, and that is the fear of failure. And failure is also an acronym that I love to use, is FAIL, is first attempt in learning. So we have fear, false evidence appearing real. Fail, you should fail every single day of your life and be grateful that you're failing because it helps you to learn, first attempt in learning. And then on the other side of this is I turn fear into a positive. Face everything and rise. And when I read that book, The Alchemist, that really started to plant seeds for my mindfulness today and my spiritual journey today. And he also talked about in The Alchemist, quote, don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart, end quote. Think about that. Don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. So, you know, these quotes and these books and these inner realms that I started to explore that I talked about in the first half of the show really started to broaden my perspective. And it really changed me from a religious person to a spiritual person. And, you know, even Aristotle talked about this quote, he who has overcome his fears will truly be free. And I can say that, you know, today, based on the teachings and the readings and the guidance, you know, there is a sense of freedom. Even, you know, there's still pain, there's still lessons. We call them life lessons, and not all life lessons are fun. But it's through these lessons that we grow stronger, we go deeper, we find our purpose of why we're here. Another quote that comes from The Alchemist is, quote, and one who has to understand that braveness is not the absence of fear, but rather the strength to keep on going forward despite the fear. And that's very, very powerful stuff to tune into. So some of the tips I want to give you today, because this second half hour is going to go by so quick, for your spiritual journey. And again, I've got a couple, I've already thrown out a couple book recommendations if you're interested on opening up these doors of knowledge, wisdom, guidance, transformation. One of the books that I'm currently reading right now is called The Lost Years of Jesus by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. And it's actually a journey about writings of how Jesus went to different lands to learn, including India, Nepal, to learn about meditation, to learn about healing. And it's a very different perspective, something you will not find in Scripture. And I can say that I have read the Bible, and we have studied in my group. We've studied the top 10 religions around the world, and you'll find that the messages are very similar in nature. But it's a very fascinating book to read about actual ancient writings from India to Tibet to Nepal, about how Jesus traveled there, because you always hear about Jesus one time in the Old Testament when he was 12, I believe, and then you start to hear about his journey when he was in his 30s, 33, I believe. And I've always questioned, like, well, we have all these writings about him at that time. What about all the writings of what he did up to, if he was such an amazing person, which he was? But what did he do before that? So that's a perspective to read about what he did to study the many pathways, very ancient ways of other traditions, not just Christianity. So good perspective if you want to tune into that. Another book that really opened my mind was called Vansitha's Yoga. And this is by Swami Venkantansanada. Say that 3 times fast. I can never say his name. But what it is, it's for those who aspire to higher wisdoms. It's a storehouse of wisdom. It's a very big book. I still haven't finished this one. That's how big it is. But it's really a translation of what it is on our spiritual journey that's been written over the course of many, many centuries. And I have found it to be very enlightening book, and something you're going to have to take your time with. Like I said, it's very thick, and you're not going to read it in one sitting. You're going to probably take, like myself, it's going to take some time to read through that. Another book that I love is The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. This book is really an easy read, and it's, if you know who Thich Nhat Hanh is, the monk who helps with, peace in every step of your journey, and your spiritual journey. So those are a couple books that I have on my bookshelf in front of me. The other one is The University of Spiritualism by a pioneer in spiritualism by the name of Mr. Harry Boddington. And this book is, it's an authoritative book. It's a 3-year course on all aspects of spiritualism that was prepared by this author for his students. And he spent over 40 years in his preparation. And it's involved studying, comparative religion, science, philosophy, ethics, logic, and political economy. And it's a really great read, The University of Spiritualism, because he takes all aspects of religions and looks at all different perspectives, which at the end of the day, your free will and choice is going to give you which path you want to choose based on the knowledge you have. So here are some tips for the spiritual journey. If you're new to it, you're just halfway through it, you've been on the journey in this path for a long time, is set an intention. When you set an intention, I have found that energy follows intention. Our thoughts become our words become our actions become our behaviors become our destiny. And when we set an intention, clarify your purpose. Ask for what you want. Think for what you want. And if you clarify your purpose and what you hope to gain from your spiritual journey, what do you want to gain from this? Maybe you don't know that answer to that question. This will help guide the actions and keep you focused. And what I found when you set intentions, my goodness, doors open up, different people, friends come into your life, friends leave your life, family, same thing. You start, your vibration changes and your relationships will change. So don't get down on yourself, because the spiritual path can be a lonely place at first, but when you set intentions, many doorways, teachers, mentors, classes, that's how I found this to be, oh, okay, this is very interesting. And what that does is it would help with my actions, keep me focused. And then at the end of the day, free will and choice. Do I want to go to a college in England to study psychic and mediumship, which I've been doing now for the last decade, and have met many great people and amazing teachers, and have learned a lot about the ways of both psychic sciences and healing and mediumship and connecting. And mediumship is connecting with those that have lived a physical incarnate life, passed through death, and we have the ability to connect with our spiritual decarnate loved ones, whether that be friends, family, or fur babies. And it's been quite an interesting journey. And again, I always say we don't have to go to the spirit world. The spirit world is here fully, we're immersed in it, but it's about our body and what we do with the tools that we have that allows us to open up and connect and to vibrate and to ascend, to connect to that knowledge, if you will. Practice mindfulness. If you cultivate a present moment awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations, this can, again, be done through meditation, deep breathing exercises, getting out in nature. Like I said, I've recently had the experience of working with ancient plant medicines, and that has really been a mind opener. And you want to talk about the veil being lifted, and I'm excited to do it again here later this year, and it's helped with my transformation and my healing. And it just helps you to pay attention to the present moment. So if you're in that mindset, that you're in a place of negativity or depression or anxiety or uncertainty or anger, come back to the present moment, and you can switch that. One of the things I found was moving my attitude towards gratitude, things that I am thankful for, things that I can look around and go, you know what? I do have a roof over my head. I do have clean drinking water. I took a hot shower today. I'm not involved in an intense war where people are dying every single day in other parts of the world. So you can find, gratitude, and you'll find that your frequency changes, your auric field changes, your mindset changes. So these are some of the tips for the spiritual journey. So set an intention, practice mindfulness, seek knowledge, read books, some of the books that I'm giving you. Another book that I have right here is called The Unfolding Universe by the author Arthur Findlay, who is the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, England, which is about 40 minutes north of London. And it's a college dedicated, and it's a really great one. I find this to be one of his greatest books because it gives a very comprehensive picture of the universe as revealed by spiritualism. It's both his philosophy and his psychic experiences for all human desires as to life and to conduct on earth and our destiny after death. So that's a really good book. Again, it's called Arthur Findlay, The Unfolding Universe, and it's a book I read a few years ago, and I picked it up from time to time. I read about a book a week because I get a lot of books too for upcoming shows, and the guests, like I said, all the guests that we had previous to this podcast with me being the guest, were all based on books that people, PR firms and other people sent to me, and I read through them, gloss through them, summarize through them, and there's just, this is seeking knowledge, and you can do that by reading books, and a lot of people don't read anymore, unfortunately, but there's a lot of knowledge that has been written down through the centuries, and you can really get some really great knowledge if you start to read some books. Attend workshops. I remember when I was first on my spiritual journey, this would have been in 2009, 2008, and I was invited down to learn from a amazing teacher by the name of Lisa Williams in Dallas, Texas, and it was a workshop based on psychic and mediumship. I knew nothing about the subjects, nothing. So something just, that inner calling said, do it. And I did. Went down and learned a lot. I had my first mediumship experience with my own subjective, as mediums, we see the world two ways, objective and subjective. Subjectives in our mind, which I started to experience, but I also had my first objective, which I saw with my physical eye, and that was my cousin and my uncle standing in the spirit world. And again, the mind, are the eyes playing tricks on me, but I saw them with my own physical eyes, and that's when I really became a true believer that there is something beyond this physical flesh suit. And that was because I took the courage, the lack of fear, to go down to a workshop in Dallas, Texas with Lisa Williams. And it's from there I started to learn about different workshops, the Omega Institute, the Arthur Findlay College, some of the events in places around here in the Pacific Northwest. And so it's just when you start to open that door and go down it, it usually leads to more connections and more doors opening. And it allows you to explore different spiritual teachings to deepen your understanding of both spiritualism and find what resonates with you. I'm not saying you have to follow spiritualism. Spiritualism is a pathway that has many different choices, and it's what resonates with you at the end. So what resonates with you? Another big one. So set an intention, practice mindfulness, seek knowledge, connect with nature. As a spiritualist, our three truths are light, truth, and nature. Nature is a big part of the pathway. If you spend time in nature to reconnect with the natural world and experience a sense of awe and wonder, if you take walks, if you hike, or simply sit and observe the beauty around you, that is going to be part of the spiritual journey and some tips Like I said, with my recent experience with plant medicine was completely out in nature, off grid, way back. Didn't even have we had compost toilets. And it's that experience with my plant medicine of healing that I really got to connect with nature in a way that I have never had before. And I do a lot of, as a Taurus, I'm earthbound as a sign, and so I very connect with trees and the wind and nature and getting out on hikes. But this connection with plant medicine really connected me to a deeper sense of nature, and I'm looking forward to do it again. Like I said, one of the tips is cultivating gratitude. Practice gratitude by acknowledging and accepting and appreciating the blessings that are in your life. It can change your mindset when you're feeling down. This can help shift your focus to a positive, more upbeat, more healthy sense of contentment with where you're at. And life throws a lot of stuff at us. I'm not naive or blind to that. Like I said, my path started with the murder of my little brother Michael, and 3 days later, the diagnosis of terminal brain cancer with my older brother Todd. So I'm not naive that the world can be a vampire, as that song goes. But it's about how you cultivate and continue to journey through with courage, with fear. But like I said, that fear is face everything and rise, and the bravery to do so. So cultivating gratitude can really help you. Find a community. Like I said, the spiritual path can be a very lonely place because you're starting to transform. You're that caterpillar that's moving into the butterfly effect, and not everybody's going to be on the same wavelength, not on the same vibration, not on the same scale. So when you find a community, surround yourself with like-minded individuals, not a cult. You still have your free will and choice, and there's a lot of cults out there. Don't just go what somebody blindly tells you. You have to use your intuition as well. But when you find a community, it just helps you share similar interests. And this can provide support, guidance, and opportunities for both growth and learning. That's why I started my spiritual development group years ago. Same time I started Inspired Living 8 years ago. I have an online group called Spiritual Development Group, SDG, where I have people from around the country, England and Wales and Canada, that have similar pathways or have gone through similar journeys, near-death experience, out-of-body experience, severe loss and trauma, and reconnect via Zoom and on Wednesdays, believe it or not. And there's a lot to be gained from that. So find a community. Practice self-care as well. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Engage in activities that nourish your soul, such as journaling, practicing self-compassion, engaging in creative pursuits, using your compassion and your kindness to help somebody. That's what we're here for, is to help one another. And we don't see a lot of that. We do, but we see a lot more negative in our world than we do positive. Try to be the difference of a positive person. One of the examples I use, I'm not a big fan of social media, but I use my social media platforms for platforms of positivity, to encourage, to motivate, to help people think outside the box, to offer diamonds that may help somebody. If you help one person, you're doing your job. And of course, embrace uncertainty. Embracing uncertainty in the spiritual journey is allowing yourself to embrace the unknown and be open to new experiences and perspectives. One of the foundations I teach my students in my development group is trust and patience. You have to have trust. You have to have patience that your spiritual journey will unfold in its own unique way. Us as humans are more real time, on demand. We want it right now. It doesn't work that way. Trust, patience, dedication, discipline. That's what will really unlock your spiritual journey. So just remember, everyone's spiritual journey is unique to you. So trust your intuition and follow what feels right to you. One of the quotes that I love is from Gandhi, and he says this: "There is a force in the universe which, if we permit it, will flow through us and produce miraculous results." Again, if we permit it, your free will and choice will always dictate what you're going to allow and not allow. So let's see here. I had one more thought for you. As this, like I said, the second half hour goes by so very quickly. And as we've been exploring, and I'm sharing some tips with you today, and as we explore the depths of our souls, and it's again unique to each and every one of you, but it's a deeply personal and introspective journey is what I would say. And if you want to go deeper, like I said, if you choose to explore, to go deeper, to prospect, or my tagline is dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover the diamond within. And you explore your inner self and that self-reflection. If you take time to reflect on your thoughts, your emotions, and your experiences, again, you can do that through journaling, meditation, or simply just quiet contemplation. Can help you gain insights to your inner world. Mindfulness, again, being fully present in the moment. Pay attention to your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. We are so good at opinion and judgments. If you're in that place of opinion and judgments, you're in your ego space, you're in your ego mind. And if you can move out and past that, this can help you become more aware of your inner self. And it can also cultivate a deeper connection with your soul. And that's what today's episode is about, navigating the depths of your soul. Seek solitude. If you read the books that I talked about and some of the references I've given during this show, a lot of the gurus would seek solitude, including Jesus himself. Find moments of solitude where you can be alone with your thoughts. Some people don't want to be alone with their thoughts. Ignorance is bliss. That's why we say that. But if you can disconnect from any distractions, i.e. your smartphone, social media, the news cycles, if you can spend time away from those distractions and spend time in nature and engage in creative activities, whether it's painting, writing, singing, dancing, and you engage in any of these activities that bring you joy and peace, this solitude is going to transform you on your spiritual journey. Engage in self-expression. Explore different forms of self-expressions, like I said, such as art, writing, music, or dance. These creative outlets can help you tap into your emotions and express your innermost thoughts and feelings. And that's what I experienced with my recent experience with plant medicine, through the purge, through the connection to what I would call as grandmother to divine, but then the dancing and the chanting and the singing, and something I'd never experienced before. And now I'm looking at, I'll be honest, it scared the crap out of me because my ego couldn't control an outcome. And that fear energy that I talked about earlier did kick in. But now that I've done that and I moved past that fear and took courage to do it, I'm looking forward to my next connection with plant medicine and what it's going to unfold and unlock, and more doors it's going to open. And that's part of that self-expression. Through that experience, I will be dancing and singing and chanting and playing instruments. And, it's just, it's the journey that you have to choose to do if you want to go deeper with your soul. Again, practice self-compassion. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Work from a place of grace, patience, trust. And as you explore your inner self, embrace your vulnerabilities and treat yourself with understanding and compassion. That's very, very important in the spiritual journey. Remember, the journey of exploring the depths of your soul is, again, unique to you. Trust your intuition and allow yourself the time and space to delve into the depths of your own being. That's very, very important. So read and reflect. That's another good one. Engage in deep reading and reflection. Explore books, poetry, and philosophical texts that you can resonate with, and take the time to contemplate and internalize the insights and ideas presented in what you're reading. Connect with others. So very important. Engaging in meaningful conversations. I hope today's show has been meaningful and that you are finding this engaging. Find mentors, find trusted friends, therapists. Do your own work as well. Therapists can help you do that. They can provide valuable insights and perspectives. Sharing your thoughts and experience with others can deepen your self-understanding, and it can foster your own personal growth. Again, explore your passions. Why are you here? Engage in activities that ignite your passion and bring you joy, whether it's pursuing a hobby, learning a new skill. For me, I'm learning Spanish. I've been practicing 455 days today, and I'm actually starting to understand Spanish. I don't speak it as well. I'm not as fluent as I'd like to be, but I understand it. So that's, exploring a new skill or immersing yourself in a creative project. These activities can help you connect with your authentic self and uncover hidden aspects of your soul that you didn't even know existed. Of course, face your shadows. Explore the shadow self, which refers to the unconsciousness and suppressed aspects of your personality. This can involve acknowledging and working through past traumas, fears, or negative patterns of behavior, which can be brought on by our parents, religion, loss, the list goes on and on. But by facing and integrating these shadows, you can foster inner healing and growth and transformation. And of course, embrace the silence and stillness. Create moments of silence and stillness in your daily life. This is probably the most important for today's episode. This can be through meditation, mindfulness practices, deep breathing, or just simply being present in the quiet solitude of the present moment. And embracing silence allows you to listen to the wisdom of your own soul and connect with your innermost desires and truths. Remember, the journey of exploring your soul is an ongoing process. It requires patience, trust, self-compassion, and a commitment to self-discovery. Embrace the journey with an open heart and an open mind, and trust that it will lead you to a deeper understanding of yourself and a more meaningful and authentic life. So that's today's episode. I hope that you will explore your own spiritual journey and go deeper in the depths of your own soul. And until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly, wherever you're at and whatever part of the journey you're on, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and I hope that you will discover that diamond within. Until our next time, be kind, take care of yourself, and have a great rest of your day. Namaste.